Hello everyone, that Manga Kid here to do my January 2020 manga haul. I'm going to get right into it. I got quite a few really cool titles to show you. Um, I'm going to start off with the stuff that's continuing series. I got finally volume 12 of Waiting for Spring. I actually haven't read this one yet, and I realized that when I pulled it off my shelf to start this video. I went, oh crap, I haven't actually. Usually this one I read as soon as I get it, but I've been busy and I must have just thrown it on the shelf and forgot. But I'll probably read it during the readathon coming up that Shay Geeks Out is doing because it is kind of romance themed because it starts on Valentine's Day. So I'll probably save this for that. Next up, I've got Horimiya Volume 13. This one I have read. This is another one. It's been a long time since we've got Volume 12, so was quite excited that this was finally here, and I really enjoyed it. This volume focused a lot on the two siblings, which was really cute, and I'll show you just a color page right inside. I thoroughly enjoy Horimiya. I know some people find it gets a bit boring and repetitive, but honestly, I really like the characters. I like the humor, and it's one that even though it's been, I think, like a year or so since the last volume came out, you can just pick it up and right where it left off. You're not going to forget much of anything. You just kind of go right back into the story. So it's just a lighthearted, comedy romance. Next up, volume 13 of Bungo Stray Dogs. This one is a really, really thin volume. I was quite disappointed, but story is still going strong. I'm really enjoying it still, and lots of action. I'm not sure how long this series is because it feels like it could wrap up soon, but I somehow feel like that's not the case. So I'm interested to see where the story goes from here because it keeps just adding more and more problems. And I'm like, how many problems could we possibly have in this one city? But I'm enjoying it still. Next up, got Happiness Volume 10, final volume, Shuzo Oshimi. I do have a full series review coming out of this. If it's not out already, I don't think it is. I think it's coming out soon. But really enjoyed this final volume. Really loved this series. Highly recommend reading it if you are not easily disturbed. But yeah, really beautiful ending, I think, and I really enjoyed it. Another Shuzo Oshimi title, I've got volume 3 of Inside Mari. So now I have 1 through 5. I was just missing 3, so I got 3 when it went for a good price. I really love Inside Mari. It's a really, really good story. Little bit less, it's less grotesque than Happiness, but still proceed with caution if you are sensitive to sexual themes, but not violent like Happiness is. And we've got volume 12 of Silver Spoon. I'm reading volume 11 currently, so I have not read this one yet, but continues to be a solid series. The characters are kind of thinking about their futures because they're second years, or at least where I am in volume 11, I think they're just like transitioning into their second year of high school. So they're thinking about where they want to go from here and trying to think about the future. Next up, volume 5, O Maidens in Your Savage Season. Wonderful title. I believe Mari Okada. Yeah, Mari Okada and now Emoto. Really, really cool story about these girls just kind of exploring their sexuality. The art is gorgeous by now Emoto, and it's just a really good story about puberty and growing up and being uncomfortable and trying to work through your feelings and desires and not be embarrassed. And yeah, it's really good. Next up, volume 5 of Ten Dance. I don't know why, but I have not even started reading this yet. I have the first 5 volumes now, and I have not even started it. I know I'm going to love it. I like ballroom dance stories. Ballroom dance fascinates me to no end, and so manga about it is great, and gay manga about it is probably even better. So I don't know why I haven't read this yet, but uh, I will get to it at some point soon. Next up, these went on super sale, so I managed to pick up the next few volumes of the 20th Century Boys Perfect Editions. This one's number 4. I've read the first 3, really loved them. I cannot wait to read more. These literally just came in yesterday, so yeah, I am super excited to read more 20th Century Boys because those first 3 omnibuses were awesome. I enjoyed them very much. I'm really loving the story. I cannot wait to see where it goes. So this one's Omnibus 5. And I did also pre-order Volume 7. So I have that when it comes out in, I think, March as well. But I got these for, like, a very, very good price. So I'm super happy about that. Very, very excited to read more. Next up, I went to the used bookstores there's a couple used bookstores in my city, and I usually hit up both of them because they're quite close in proximity to each other. And I found INVU. This is volume 1. It's a manhwa series by Kim Kang-won. This is one that I believe Bizarre Individual owns and has spoken about and seems to enjoy. And it's one that I've had on my radar because of that. It just seemed very kind of fascinating to me. So I found the first 2 volumes of INVU. I'm only a little bit into volume 1, and I am thoroughly enjoying it already. The art is so cool. It's very much like manhwa of whatever time this was. This very, very reminiscent of manhwa at the time that this was kind of publishing. I really love that art style, and I'm very excited to read this. I believe there are 6 volumes in total. However, it does not seem as though it got a full release in English, so I don't know if it's 4 volumes at least for sure were published. I think 5 potentially by Tokyo Pop, but I don't know. If anybody does know, please let me know. But I mean, at this point, I only have the 2, and hopefully in the future I can pick up whatever's left of the English release. But for now, I'm happy to just have this and enjoy these 2 volumes. But yeah, quite stoked to have found that. Another manhwa title, Hard Boiled Angel, Blue Angel. This is by Hyun Si Lee. I saw this actually several times, and this is by CPM Manga. Oh, they actually put manhwa on that. I'm surprised. So this is CPM Manhwa. I have a CPM Manga title, but yeah, this one I saw quite often at the store. It's been at the used bookstore for quite a while, but I didn't buy it because it said Volume 1 on it. And I went, well, I'm not going to buy just Volume 1. I've never even heard of this. I'm never going to get the other volumes for it. But then I read the back, which says, for hard-boiled crime stories, short stories, and I went, oh, okay, so it's just short stories about the same badass lady solving crimes or fighting people or whatever. And I was like, well, if I don't get the other volumes, then it's not the end of the world because it's just a bunch of short stories. And so I decided to buy it. I have not read it yet. I'm excited to. I will probably give my thoughts on it once I do. It just looks really cool, and the release is really beautiful. It's a very good, nice release by CPM, so yeah. Next up, another one I've wanted for a long time. Unfortunately, they only had Volume 1, but it's enough that I can kind of, read it and see if it's something I want to track down. Why does it keep falling? But Confidential Confessions, Reiko Momochi is the mangaka for this. This is basically, it seems like it's going to be just an angsty story about different, you can see right on it, it says rape, suicide, prostitution, something else, sexual harassment. I don't know what that word is. Talking? Sure. Yeah, it's a story about various different troubled topics and teens. So it's been fascinating. I have not read this yet, but I've been had my eye on it for years of just something that I was interested in checking out. So when they had volume one at the used bookstore, I decided to grab it, and I really like the art style. So I'm hoping it's not too like cringeworthy of just like super teen angst. I'm hoping that it's actually like a good commentary on these issues, but I guess we'll find out. Next up, I am super excited. I know that Tokyo Pop has come out with some really beautiful omnibuses of this series, but they're very expensive. They're like $33 in Canada. So I found the 2 volumes of Aqua, the old Tokyo Pop release. This is the prequel to Aria. So I decided to buy these, and because they had the first 4 volumes of Aria. So I figured I got all of these 6 volumes for less than the price of one of those omnibuses. So if I read these and enjoy it, then I can purchase the omnibuses. I'm not picky about my collection in terms of, making sure I have the exact same edition and the spines all look the same and all that. I think that I like my collection because it's eclectic and there's different stuff happening all over the place, and I like the history of things. And if I have the first 6 volumes of this in this edition and then I purchase the rest in the omnibuses, that just shows that the history of this series and its publication for me, and I don't mind, having it in different editions. So if I love this enough to shell out the money for those omnibuses that Tokyo Pop's re-releasing, then I'll just purchase the rest of the series in the omnibus form, and that'll be that. But really beautiful covers and everything. So yeah, I went back and forth because the omnibuses are something that I've wanted to purchase, but I just couldn't justify, even on sale. If the sale price, that the lowest sale price I've been able to kind of get it to is like $20 for the volume, which isn't bad, or like $22 or something, but it's still, for a series I've never read and don't know much about, still a lot of money. So I managed to get all these volumes for less than what I would pay for one of those omnibuses, and I will see if I enjoy it. Next up, some new started series. Tropical Fish Yearns for Snow Volume 1. I know I did a first impressions of this. I don't remember if it's out on my channel or not yet, but it will be coming out soon if it's not out already. Really great. If you want to hear my thoughts on it, go check out the video if and when it's out. We got Volume 1 of Haven't You Heard I'm Sakamoto. I've read this series from my library, actually, a couple of years ago. I really love it. It's a 4-volume series. I needed something to throw in my cart to get my free shipping or something at one point, and this was really cheap on Chapters, where I order most of my manga. And so I know I love it, and honestly, I think that a couple volumes are out of print, which is unfortunate, but I knew that even if I only ever have Volume 1, I'll enjoy it anyway, because it is hysterically funny. And I have read it before, and my library does have it, so it's not the end of the world, but I'm glad at least to have Volume 1. Next up, a new series to me. Again, this is Volume 2. This is by Mitsuru Kubo. This is a series I've wanted since it started, like before it started releasing when they were advertising it. This is Volume 8. But I just never pulled the trigger on purchasing it, and 2020 is the year. I am very excited. I believe it's finished now, releasing. So these were really cheap. I got these for like $7 each. So I got Volume 2, Volume 8, and Volume 9 because they were very cheap. So I'm just going to pick this up throughout the year when the volumes go on sale. And yeah, I'm excited to read it. I really enjoyed Moteki, so I'm very much looking forward to reading again. I know it's something I'm going to really enjoy. So yeah, it's just now's the time to pick it up. Another series that is new to me, but I have actually read before. This is Real. This is Volume 8. My library has Volumes 1 through 9, and so I read them about 3 years ago or so. I really, really love this series. This is by Takahiko Inoue. It's the only Takahiko Inoue series I've read, actually. This is about wheelchair basketball. very hard-hitting series, touching, really beautiful. Obviously, the art, there's a lot of color pages in here. Um, Again, I've read it before, or read the first 9 volumes. I haven't read past volume 9. But this is a series I've had on my list of things to buy since I read it from the library years ago. This is volume 10. Um, and I know it's not complete. I think there's 14 volumes completed. And so it's one that I've been going back and forth on, but never seemed to make it past the checkout line when I was ordering manga. And these, again, I got them for super cheap. I think I got them for like $8 each. And so I decided to grab the ones that were really cheap. This is volume 11 and then volume 14. So I'm going to buy all of the volumes that are out, which I believe 14 is the final one that's released, if I remember correctly, and then I'll reread the whole thing, because I can't start from volume 10. I could technically read 10 and 11 right now, since I read up to volume 9, but I don't remember much of what happened, so I think it's better if I just reread everything once I buy it all. Next up, I started The Poe Clan by Moto Hagio. This is Fantagraphics with their beautiful, very large hardcover. This is volume 1. I believe there's going to be 2 of these giant omnibus things. But have not read this yet. I will certainly start it soon. But yeah, I really enjoyed Otherworld Barbara, and I very much regret not picking up Heart of Thomas, and I knew that I would regret not picking up the Poe Clan if it ended up going out of print. So yeah. And I also technically got this for free because I had a bunch of points saved up. So yeah, I didn't actually have to technically pay for this, but happy to have it. Next up, some new to me, completed, all of which are alternative titles, I believe. I finally got An Invitation from a Crab by Punpanya. I have a video coming out about this series. I don't think it's out already. I'm starting a new series on my channel of alternative manga spotlight, and I believe this is the first one that I made a video for, to just, like a title suggests, spotlight some alternative manga and get people interested in that type of manga. So if you're interested in hearing my thoughts on An Invitation from a Crab, check out that video once it's released. Next up, I also got Pez. This is by Hiroyuki Asada, the same mangaka that did, what is it called? Tagami Bachi. I own the first 5 volumes of Tagami Bachi, but I never purchased more. This is, as you can see, very thin. This is a Denpa release, and very expensive. This volume goes for like $35 in Canada for that. I did not pay that. I got it for much, much less than that, and I also technically, again, I used my points to pay for it, so I didn't have to actually use money for it, but it is gorgeous, like photo finish, full color, but I still think that $35 is gouging for this. That's pretty, I don't know, it's a lot, and unless you are like a die-hard Hiroyuki Asada fan, or you get it for very cheap, or I don't know. It's beautiful. I read it. It's fine. But I don't think it's worth $35. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. I really like it. I'm glad I have it. But if I had paid for it, I'd be a bit disappointed, but I didn't really technically pay for it because of my points that I had saved up, and I used it to just purchase this. So yeah, I don't know. Next up, this is Red Colored Elegy by Seiichi Hayashi. I have not read this yet. I know that Laura over at Manga Hoarder has this and has talked about it in the past. That's how I knew about it. I was just searching for some alternative manga on Amazon, and I came across this one, and it was a good price, and I went, you know what? I'm interested. It is very Um, very much an alternative style. Haven't read it yet. Very excited to. Don't know much about it, but yeah. Another one that I heard about from Laura, Yukiko Spinach. This is, I believe, another Ponentmon release. Mine has the little thingy on it, but this is French. Was it Nouvelle something? I can't remember the actual, like, I can't remember what they call it, but it's a French author who was living in Japan writing manga. Um, I'm excited to read this. It's by Frederick Wallet, and yeah, I'm very excited. The art inside looks really cool, and I've been enjoying Ponentmon titles, so super stoked to have this, and very excited to read it. And last but not least, ugh, finally got my hands on The Strange Tale of Panorama Island by Suehiro Maruo. Yeah, lots of people are picking this up recently because it got reprinted. This is one that I've wanted for many, many years, and when I found out it was getting reprinted, I was like, "Ooh, I should probably get that." And then finally, I was on Amazon looking at some other alternative manga and went, "Okay, well, now's the time to buy it," and I'm excited to read it. I'm a little bit like it's a beautiful hardcover. I'm a little bit disappointed because for the amount of money they were charging for this, the paper quality is not fantastic. Um, it feels like a little bit better quality than like regular manga paper. Um, so when I look at all these other alternative titles I've been buying that are from these small publishers but are like really beautifully published, this one was the most expensive of the bunch that I paid for, and the paper is like the worst quality out of all of them. So that's a little bit disappointing, but it is a beautiful hardcover. I'm happy to have it. I'm excited to read it. But yeah, that was just immediately I went, well, that's not the paper I was expecting this to have, but okay. Anyway, that is my January 2020 haul. I'm very excited about the titles I got this month. Kind of eclectic mix of new and used and alternative, and yeah, I'm excited to read a lot of these things and that I finally own some of them. And yeah, if you saw anything that you'd like me to talk about, let me know. If you have any questions or anything about any of them, also let me know. Or any fun facts that you may know that I did not know about any of these titles. Yep. Well, anyway, thanks for watching.